Welcome to our podcast. This is Friends on Fire.
I'm Mike. I'm a lifelong devotee of financial independence. I even wrote a book about it.
And I'm Maggie, a newer convert, but just as passionate, especially on the intersection of minimalism and financial independence.
We're one and the same.
We are two like-minded friends who believe that talking about money with your friends and family opens the door to financial well-being.
The Friends on Fire podcast is about dispelling myths, building financial acumen, and sharing your financial independence journey with the people you care about.
This is Friends on Fire.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Maggie.
What's going on?
Oh, just looking forward to covering our goals. You know how much I love talking about goal setting and achieving them.
This is one of your favorite topics. But I'm like flying high tonight, right?
Why is that?
Not literally. Well, I don't know, maybe. But I did have a beer right before the show because I'm celebrating tonight. Tonight is the eve of my first day off. So this is the first week technically of my new job, even though I've been kind of like doing two jobs for a couple months. This is the first formal week in my new job. This is the first full week that I start my new 4-day schedule. And Thursdays, against your better judgment, Thursdays is the day I chose.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with your choice of day off.
I strongly agree with myself, and I have so many reasons, which we won't get into, of why I've selected Thursday. But it's a trial. I can change it. I can adjust it whenever I need to. The idea is it's a 32-hour, 4-day schedule, and so it's flexible on how that looks for me. But for now, I'm going to try to have it be Thursday. So tomorrow, which is Thursday, is my first, quote, day off. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, day off.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
I'm super excited. Thanks. I'm excited, but I'm like nervous, and I have all these weird, nervous is the wrong word, but I have all these weird feelings and tendencies that are coming up that I'm noticing.
I do not want to get into a whole discussion about your feelings right now.
Feelings?
No, I don't.
We could talk about my feelings for a while if you
want. No, I will just say that.
What did we learn? Go ahead. Say what?
I am very excited that you are starting this new phase of your career. I think it is very ambitious and bold of you to try, and I'm sure it's going to work out well. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm drawing a line in the sand, I'm putting my money where my mouth is because I'm taking a big hit financially to do this, and I'm excited for it.
That's great.
But what did we learn last week about me and my talking?
Oh, from Kate Flanders, our interview?
Yeah.
That you don't ramble, you provide context.
Yeah, so I was going to give you some context about my feelings.
Yeah.
Let me just sum it up in one contextual statement, okay?
Okay.
And I won't ramble. I'm having these weird feelings where I'm noticing these constant tendencies to like work and check my email. Like even tonight, like I'm just sort of programmed that I'm constantly driven to figure out what the next thing I need to do for work is and do it and put that in front of so many other things in my life that the feeling of just being like, no, just take a day off and do something that is not work related, but that you want to do is like, I'm just noticing all these weird aversions to it or sort of tendencies to go back to it and be like, oh, I'm just going to go kind of get caught up on this or get caught up on that. And I'm like, no, I cannot work again until Friday.
Yeah. No, I have heard from many people who have retired early. Their big message is that it will take you 3 to 6 months to like fully unlearn those habits which you are describing. So I understand what you're talking about. It's tough.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how tomorrow goes. I'll let you know.
So yeah. I don't think I have a choice. You're going to tell me all about your feelings.
I should do like a play-by-play on Instagram of how my day goes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
An hourly check-in. Actually, that would be a fun way to commemorate the day and hold myself accountable. Maybe I'll do like an hourly story. That'd be a lot of stories. I could do it.
You'll have the time.
Right. Great. I'll spend my first day off on social media.
Right.
Yay.
So today, we are going to do a recap of our 2020 goals. We've been doing one of these every quarter. We started the year.
We haven't actually recorded one every quarter.
Yeah, we have.
I think we missed. Did we?
Yeah,
I thought we missed a lot.
No, I do not miss.
Oh, okay.
Goal
I know
reviews,
we've been
Maggie.
talking about them, but I didn't think we had recorded one. So.
Oh, we definitely did.
Well, good on us.
Yeah.
Yay for us.
Yeah. So we're going to do our Q3 check-in. And review what our goals are, review our progress, but then we're also going to add an additional element, which was your idea and something I wouldn't have thought of, but I really like.
Yeah, we're going to talk about just a little bit of gratitude and some of our intentions over the next 3 months to wrap up what has been an incredibly unexpected and interesting 2020.
And gratitude is one of those things where I think I express it or recognize it internally, but it's not something I'm like intentional about. You know, like some people write something down that they're grateful for every day or make a point of telling other people what they're grateful for. And I've never like done that. And so it's not a practice that's I'm mindful of. And so I was kind of excited to actually like write some notes and go through this a little more formally.
Yeah, I like it. And there's so much research around the benefits of recognizing and showing gratitude, which we can talk about briefly as we get into that more.
So to start, we're going to do a quick recap of what SMART goals are. It is important, whether you're talking about your personal finances or your health or your career, to set goals and make sure that you work to achieve them. But in order to do that, we follow the framework of SMART, S-M-A-R-T. And SMART stands for, I swear, I forget this every time we record. This is now like the 4th time we talked about SMART goals.
Well, also there's like 8 different definitions.
So it's specific. Now I'm not looking at our notes, okay, which I also don't think we wrote them in our notes. SMART, specific. No. SMART, measurable. How do you spell SMART?
It can be S-M-A-R-T.
Oh, yeah.
S can be smart or specific.
Okay.
Oh, well, the word is smart. You don't need the S to be smart.
So specific, measurable, action-oriented.
Achievable or attainable. Both people use both. This is fun.
R stands for
rambling. Just kidding.
Yeah, oh, that's a good one.
R stands for relevant. Come on, Mike.
Oh, yeah, relevant and time sensitive. Time bound. Which basically is like, it should really be smart B. Like smart B. Time bound's that's 2 words, but whatever. Yeah. Well, this has been a great start to our episode. I'm glad
or
we covered
timely. We could just say
goals.
timely.
Yeah,
Sometimes
timely.
it says timely.
Okay, but if you were to since clearly we don't even remember what these are, basically you need to make sure that you have a specific goal and a specific plan to achieve it, and that you are checking in on yourself on a regular basis. If you don't do those things, however you want to define them or structure them, you are not going to meet your goals. You'll never be able to keep yourself on track.
Yep. So we both verbally set out our intentions and our goals to our listeners and to each other, really, to help hold each other accountable. And we frequently will text each other and kind of talk about how we're doing, or like we'll do our net worth tracking or whatever. So we often talk about accountability partners, or last week with Kate Flanders, we actually talked about adventure partners, which is the term she uses, which I love because all of these things are fun little adventures we're on. And so you can call it an accountability partner, call it an adventure partner, but having somebody else that you share your goals with, like the way Mike and I do it for each other, can be really helpful because it holds you more accountable, or it holds the average person more accountable. So Mike, you want to run through your goals first?
Yes.
Or are we going to go, you just go through all yours and then I'll go through all mine?
What would you prefer tonight, Maggie?
I think you should go first,
Through all of them?
Whatever you want. Surprise me. Just start going and we'll run with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when you do that. All right. I will start. My first goal, and which is always my first goal when it comes to finance, is net worth growth. And the last few years, I've been targeting 15%. And the reason I choose a percent and not a dollar amount is because 15% of a growing number every year is going to be larger. And so it's always becoming a stretch to hit that percentage. This year, I'm only at 8%. And this is because of what happened in the market and just took a big dip. And although I am significantly higher than where I was pre-COVID drop, because of that correction, it kind of threw me off course. And so I'm not going to hit 15. I said on our last show, which we did record for Q2, that I wanted to hit 10%. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit that. Mm-hmm. But then pivoting to gratitude, like I am grateful to have a job that pays me a lot of money that I'm happy with. I'm grateful to have a portfolio of investments that have performed very well and are resilient and creating wealth for me. And so there's not very much that I can be disappointed at when I look at this objectively. I'm still doing quite well.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it. And you also set, as many should, right? You set a stretch goal. You set an aggressive goal for yourself, right? You didn't set a layup. And so it was aggressive. This has been a very unexpected year. And you've still, like, 10% will still be a very solid return in a year that has, you know, given the year we've had, that's like even better in so many ways, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that you shared what you're grateful. I like that you shared what you are grateful for with that. You.
All right, I'll do my second one. I'm just going to go through all of these.
Or maybe actually, even though I was like, I don't care, on the ones where we have the same goal, let's ping pong because it's just easier.
Okay, Maggie, you go.
So since I also have a net worth goal, since you had one, I was like, well, I guess I should have a net worth goal, right? I've never had one before. This is my first year doing it. It's my first year, like, consistently tracking my net worth. So my goal was also 15% because I had no idea what I should set my goal at. So I was like, well, Mike's is 15%. I guess I'll go with 15%. And so mine, remember, you probably don't remember this crap because it's not your life, but I forgot to do my net worth tracking the month of January. So I have it from December 2019 and I have it from February. So I kind of do it off both of those. So if I go off of February, I'm at 18.3. If I go off of December of 2019, I'm at 22. So I'm somewhere in the like 18 to 22% range, basically.
I wonder how you would split those. Maybe we should just call it 20%.
I did it one. I actually somewhere did the actual math.
Let's call it 20%, which is astounding.
Let's call it 20%. It's astounding. I got to be honest though. Let me be grateful for the same thing that you said, Mike, which is just in general. I'm grateful to have a job. I'm grateful to be in a position to be able to, you know, have this sort of growth. I'm also grateful for you, Mike, because one of the main reasons I've seen that level of growth is from my 401k and some changes that you pushed me to make to my investment mix that was fairly aggressive, but I don't need that money for a while. So I was willing to get aggressive on that one. I've never been aggressive with my 401k portfolio before. And I put it in just some fairly aggressive stocks, or I don't know, funds, whatever you call it.
Fund of aggressive stocks.
Fund, yes. And it's all of the companies that are doing really well in the midst of COVID, like Amazon and some of those guys. So anyways, thank you to you because I have you to thank for a lot of that growth. Not all of it. Some of it is my, you know, thrifty, frugal ways, but some of it is your investment advice.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're doing so well.
Okay, what's your next one?
Next one, I had a 20% reduction in my annual spending, which was extremely aggressive because I had no
idea how you were going to hit this because your expenses are already so low. I was like, really I don't know how you can do it.
And I was in like the 40% range reduction, which I still couldn't believe happened. But because of the remote learning and we decided to send our older child to the same daycare as our younger one to have some like assisted remote learning. So it's your kid's fault. Yeah, it is my kid's fault. So I added like, you know, $1,300 a month of new costs in there. So I am 28% on the year, 28% reduction.
That's impressive. I'm baffled. Every time Mike and I compare our expenses, I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
So what I'm grateful for primarily is a wife that aligns with my spending habits and is happy with the lifestyle, as frugal as it is, because if she wasn't, we either wouldn't have this level of spending, it would be higher, or she would be miserable, which would make me miserable, and we probably wouldn't be married anymore. So the fact that she is around and happy with all this, I am extremely grateful for.
I like it. So compared to that goal, I had a goal that was similar, but a little bit different, around the idea that I was going to defer 75% of my income and then live off of the rest. So similar to the concept of Mike, I wanted to live off of less based on, you know, how much of my salary I was deferring and not have to tap into my savings to do that. My paychecks are tiny, very, very small. And luckily, you know, we have some other income from like a rental property and some other things, which kind of helps. But I have been doing it. So I think, just to keep myself totally honest here, if I count the car that I purchased and pay,
you're going to bring this up.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not trying to hide any expenses here. If I count the car that I purchased, which I'm gonna amortize over like 10 years, can I do that? I'm not really.
You bring up an interesting point, but let's say no.
That's a lot of work. I don't really. I'm too lazy to do that.
How would you amortize it?
I would ask you how to amortize it. I know what amortize means. I could probably figure it out, or I would just ask you how to do it. So I'm basically, that means to spread the expense over the life of the product that I'm using. If I count the car that I purchased, I have not been able to do that. Actually, I'm sorry, fine print. If I include other things I get as part of my salary, like stocks and bonus and things like that, then the car would be covered. So I'll still be okay.
So should I congratulate you, or should I
guess
I did you do this? I'm confused.
I did it. Yeah. I mean, we're not through the end of the year, but like, yeah, I did it. If I include, yes, I've been able to do it. I was in my head thinking just my every other week salary, but I get to include my full income for the year, and not all of that is deferred. And so, I've been able to do it even with the car purchase. And in the spirit of what you're saying, Mike, I'm going to seal what you're grateful for. I am also grateful that my husband is as aligned as your wife is with you, Mike, in terms of the way that we live our life, because this would be difficult to do, not impossible, but more difficult to do if we were not so aligned and just on the same page about how we want to live, what's important to us, and what our financial goals are also. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's next for you, Mike?
All right, I'm going to go through the rest of mine and then hand it off to you, and then we'll talk about books, because that seems to be the most competitive one that we have.
One, for sure.
All right, so I had two. I will start with what I'm grateful for. Grateful for the inspiration you provide on both veganism and minimalism. So I wanted to be a better vegan, which is not a specific goal. So this was like an immediate violation of our advice that we put forward. I started out okay, just as a reminder for people, because like you said, people are not like keeping track of all the details of our lives. We don't eat meat. We don't drink any dairy. We don't eat eggs, but we do have cheese. And I found myself like eating more cheese at home.
You mean because of 2020?
Yeah, because of 2020. I just like needed something. I was eating more cheese.
I like it.
But I was also like not eating I wouldn't say like very healthy stuff. So I was being a vegan, but kind of like an unhealthy vegan. And this is something like we were talking about when we were all having dinner with, Greg and Britta were there, and your husband was sharing that story about eating like a box of Oreos, like they're vegan.
You're like, they're vegan.
Yeah, but it's not healthy. But I did find some additional inspiration. One of the books I read was Finding Ultra, a recommendation that you had made, which is...
That book is why I'm vegan, Mike.
It's
not kidding.
Just a life-changing book about a guy who's like incredibly unhealthy. Rich Roll, who's now super famous and becomes like an ultra marathoner, Ironmaner. And it's just like the way he speaks about these things just totally changed my outlook on it. So I found some new inspiration.
Speaking of inspiration, have you listened to his podcast?
Yeah, just a little bit. The thing that turns me off though, they're like 2 hours long.
Oh, they are very long, but he interviews like fascinating people.
Yeah.
We'll put a link into the show notes in it, but anyways, go ahead.
So anyway, I was doing okay on being a better vegan, but I didn't really have good inspiration or a good goal. And after reading this book, I now have like a very specific plan. I am very strict with myself, but also give myself like a little bit of reward to go do something else, and I don't beat myself up over it. And so like I really follow a lot of the advice that he was providing in this book, which has just totally changed my trajectory on this goal. So I'm grateful for all of the inspiration that is out there, despite it being a pretty depressing time. If you look for it, you can find a lot of things that, will motivate you to change your life.
Yeah, I like it. I knew you had read the book, but I didn't fully appreciate what a big impact it had on you. So it's awesome to hear. Second
one, minimalist goals. I've always been kind of minimalist, but mostly because I've been, I guess, frugal. We talked about, cheap. I've been cheap. And we talked about the difference between those two, I thought, in a previous episode. Yeah. But I've always been kind of minimalist just because I don't spend a lot of money. But being mindful about it, and like when you came over and went through our house and provided all that feedback, I found that there was a better way to approach it that wasn't just me kind of like wondering why I was bothered by stuff. I actually had a purpose to eliminating things or buying less things or better things. And so this will shock you, Maggie, and this will shock everybody, but I wanted to share a story about this. So you talk a lot about buying high quality stuff, but fewer things. Mm-hmm. I did something just so uncharacteristic, you might not know who you're talking to right now.
Did you buy a new car?
No, I did not buy a new car.
I feel like we need to talk about that. Like that needs to be.
No. I would definitely.
We're gonna live broadcast the selling, or well, I guess you're not gonna sell your old car, so the burning of your 2003 Ford.
I'm gonna leave my car on the side of the highway. I'm gonna take the plates off and just leave it.
Yeah.
So, okay. I bought the same Vitamix blender as you.
Oh, I didn't know you did. That is one of my. How long ago did you buy? I know you were like asking me about mine.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Wow, has it changed your life? What are you blended in there?
So a couple things. First of all, it's a $500 blender, and I did get the refurbished one from Vitamix. Has a 5-year warranty, great deal, and I got it for $400. But like $400 for a blender.
That's a lot of money for a blender.
It was just I was like, what am I doing? But Rich Roll in his book talks about it, and I could see why you also got one. You got it from his book, right?
I don't know if I.
You must
I
have. He talks about it for like 3 pages in his book. But anyway.
No, I don't know. I know for a fact that I had it before then.
Oh, of course.
Because I didn't read that book until I met Greg, and I had my Vitamix for years before I met Greg.
I had no idea that blenders could do things like this. It blends so well. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It is life-changing. It blends. It is a step function above anything I've ever used before.
I don't fully appreciate how well it blends because it's been so long since I've used like a piece of crap blender, but if the last blender you had was like a $50 blender.
It was a $100 blender, and it was just, it's like night and day.
Yeah, and it's so quick, and it's just, You can make, I didn't realize you got that. I have so many recipes. Like I freeze bananas and make like, quote, ice cream for my kids. There's so many cool things you can make with it that are just impossible to make with a regular blender.
Yeah, I mean, it is, for those of you who have never used a high-end blender, which, again, for me was like my entire life up until 2 weeks ago, you can blend anything up. Like it will break down grains of sand into a smooth paste that you can drink.
There's a video where they blend up an iPhone.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And so it's like it's been cool. So I've been doing a lot of smoothies, like Rich Roll recommends, like kind of green smoothies and stuff.
Nice.
So anyway, minimalist goals. Back to whatever I was talking about before. Definitely embracing this and trying to change my behavior just a little bit, being more mindful about it.
So was your Vitamix included in your purchase summary when you quoted that your expenses are 28% down?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. All right, Maggie, handed it off to you.
My additional goals were spending more quality and focused time with my kids and husband, with like my phone away, good wholesome time together. I think I'm doing better at this. So this again was, a more qualitative one than quantitative. But I am doing better at this. One of my intents in moving to this 4-day schedule is to improve upon this. So I hope Q4 will be my best. Q4, aka the last 3 months of the year, will be my best quarter of the year in this. But I would just, in general, I'd probably give myself a B on this one. The quarantine has definitely helped because I am home every day with my kids all day, every day. We're here. We don't go anywhere. And, even just helping them with school and just like little breaks of, popping upstairs to, do something between meetings and deal with them and check on them. It's like, we have these nice, really, nice quality micro moments throughout the day, all day long. And that's been really nice. And then, we just have a lot of nice quality time. And so I think I have improved there. I still think I could do better. I also had a goal around writing a blog post once a week. I'll be honest, I am measuring this, but it is so bad that it's not even worth quoting the number. I'm at, I don't know, how many weeks are we into the year?
I don't know.
I don't know, some math. We have like probably like 38 weeks or something like that into the year. I've maybe written 12 posts or something. So, I mean, I'm at like 20% of my goal here of writing once a week. But I'll be honest, at some point, I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't have time for everything. I am going to have to make some trade-offs. And so I purposely in my head kind of let that goal go at some point. I will say now that I am moving to this 4-day schedule, I'm going to kind of put it back on myself of like, I think I now can expect myself to write once a week, which is something that is important to me and that I would like to do. And so that's how I'm at on that one. My last one was meditating. I've found immense benefits from meditating over the years. My husband and I both have, and I've kind of fallen off the wagon. He's been more consistent and better about it in the last couple years. This year, I really wanted to get back into a proper practice of my daily. I follow like a transcendental meditation practice. And so it's, my personal goal is 23 minutes a day, which is really only 50% of the proper method. But for me, that's good enough. I was good at the beginning of the year. I kind of fell off the wagon like mid-year during a lot of the like COVID quarantine stuff. I've gotten back on it in the past 2 weeks since starting to read Atomic Habits and also since like kind of hitting a low point of just being frustrated with some things and kind of my attitude and perspective and some other things that where I know meditation helps me be a better person, a nicer person. And so in the past 2 to 3 weeks, I've started tracking it daily again, and I have just done a really good job with it.
And Atomic Habits is the book I recommended to you.
It is. You recommended it to me.
So you are grateful for that, right?
I am grateful for you recommending it. It is such a good book. I'm about halfway through. I started it on vacation, made a lot of progress, got home, and just have not been able to pick it back up. I have so many goals of how I'm going to spend tomorrow. One of them is reading more of Atomic Habits. I have 20 hours worth of goals that I'm going to squeeze into an 8-hour day tomorrow. And so, yeah, that's how I'm at on meditation.
That's great. All right. So our last joint goal was book reading. And I've always loved reading, but maybe over the past 5 years, I lost the passion for it. And so I wanted to set a realistic goal of reading 10 books. And you set the goal of reading 11 books, which I now realize you were just mocking me because, of course, you were going to crush that. And I didn't realize how annoying your 11
I wasn't mocking
goal.
you. I had no idea I was going to crush that, honestly.
Yeah, whatever, Maggie. Of course you did.
It. No,
of course you did.
I really didn't.
Okay. All right. Well,
maybe I need to read less and meditate more. Sounds like maybe that would help.
Maybe that's right.
Angles.
So my goal was 10 books. I have read 29 books.
That's really good. I mean, that is close to one a week, right? I mean, it's probably like if you were to do the math, like 0.75 a week or something.
How many weeks have we?
Hold on. There's like, I'm just going off like there's 3 months left in the year. So that's like, about 12 weeks.
Right.
Right.
There's so 52 weeks in a year. So it's like 40 weeks.
52 minus 40. Oh, wait. So, no, 40 weeks.
Yeah,
divided
52
by,
minus
you read
12.
30 books.
So it's it's like a little less than a book a week.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said that's a book a week because you said there were 30 weeks. We are getting off track. This is not the purpose of the conversation.
I said that was about 0.75, and I just did the math, and that is exactly 0.75 books a week.
I will have to go through and listen to this section of our chat.
Okay.
Anyways. I'm grateful for the accountability partner and the competitiveness, because part of the drive to rediscover a passion for reading and get more enjoyment out of it is the competitive element of it. Having a goal, having motivation, having an accountability partner. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And as a result of reading all these books, like Atomic Habits and Essentialism and Finding Ultra and some other fiction books that I've really loved, I have found so much inspiration and enjoyment, which has improved my life in other areas. So the book goal, although seemingly unimportant, has really had a dramatic impact on my life in 2020.
That's one of the many reasons I love to read books. And I read a mix of fiction and nonfiction. I know you do the same, Mike. And yeah, I love it. Like the fiction brings so much enjoyment. And the nonfiction I learned so much from. And it just really makes me a better person. And I continue to kind of expand my thoughts and capabilities. So I'm not bragging. I'm just reporting as we are supposed to. I have read 37 and a half books this year, but who's counting? I mean, I'm counting, to be clear.
Right. We're all counting.
We're all counting. And, to be honest, Mike knows this, but I read physical books, and then I also listen to some audiobooks. As I've said, I listen to audiobooks when I'm doing almost anything around the house. If I'm washing dishes, if I'm folding laundry, if I'm just tidying up or like picking up at night, like I don't ever walk around silently, which is kind of a bad habit. Like I actually get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to walk around silently. Like I want to be doing something because it just makes it more enjoyable. I listen to a good bit of audiobooks also, but I also really do like enjoy just like sitting in bed or sitting and reading like a physical book or a Kindle book. And I am grateful for Libby and the public library.
Yeah. Public
because
library. Oh man.
I have read 37 and a half books this year. I have not spent any money to read them.
Yeah.
I have gotten them all through Libby, old Audible books that are like on my husband's account that I hadn't listened to, but he may have. You lent me one book, Mike. Kate Flanders sent us a book. I would buy a book for somebody like Kate Flanders, somebody that I want to support and read. But I just haven't had to buy any books this year yet. And I love Libby, which is basically like a free Audible. And I'm patient. I see a book I want. I put it in my list. Sometimes it's, 3 months until I get it because of the hold time. Sometimes it's a week. Sometimes it's 6 months. And I get surprised. I'm like surprised and delighted. All of a sudden, some book will pop up and I'm like, oh, I remember when I was so excited to read that book 6 months ago. And now I can read it.
This reminds me of my purchases from eBay where I buy stuff really cheap from Hong Kong. And then like 3 months later, I'm like, I had no idea I bought this. How exciting.
Yeah. It came over on like a cargo ship on the ocean from China. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's just like using the Living app.
Same exact idea. And I just thought a little extra tidbit I'd share, because you might enjoy this book too, Mike, is the next book I want to read, and it's one of the few books I've considered buying because I really want to read it so bad, is Think Like a Monk. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Rich Roll interviewed the author recently, and I've heard of the author before. I don't know why I cannot think of his name for the life of me now. Anyways, I really want to read it, and I was going to actually call my used bookstore nearby to ask if they had it, because I have a credit there, and so I was maybe going to pick it up. But
Sounds
otherwise,
good.
I'm on like a 4-month wait list to get it from the library.
This has been a pretty good readout for us. I think we are on track to have very good 2020s. But honestly, the way 2020 is going, this could all turn around. I'm dreading November and December and January. So I'm grateful things so far have been very good for us.
I am too. I am grateful, and I'll be honest, some days I have feelings of
Oh, are we going to talk about your feelings again?
No, come on.
Okay, fine.
It's good to talk about your feelings. I have feelings of guilt that go along with my gratefulness, right? Or my gratitude, which is, particularly in times that are this tough for so many people, I feel very guilty at times that I'm not struggling more, right? And I'm constantly trying to instill this in my children, not the feeling of guilt, but the feeling of gratitude. When they're whining and complaining about different things, I'm constantly trying to remind them the perspective that they just don't have because they've not seen it and experienced it in the world yet, that they have so much and we have so much to be grateful for. And, I know we kind of introduced at the beginning, but I think that is so important because, there's so much science, which we won't get into here. Even I'm not allowed to talk about feelings tonight, so I definitely can't talk about science. Or no, I am. Science you probably like.
Nope, can't talk about it.
Nope, no science or feelings. Okay. But we don't have time, so I'll leave it at, there's a ton of science and research around the importance of gratitude and the importance of verbally, whether saying it to people, thinking it yourself, recognizing it, but recognizing what you have to be grateful for and how much happier that makes you as a person. And so, there's a lot of people that do a gratitude journal, or they'll, sometimes I'll even say to my kids, I want you to name 3 things you're grateful for today. And just that exercise of having to say it out loud to somebody makes you happier. And there's a lot of really interesting research that supports that concept. And so I do think it is important to be appreciative and recognizing of all that we do have. And even when people don't have a lot and they're struggling, there often is something that people can be grateful for, even in the worst of situations.
Maggie, you just made me realize something, and I need to talk about my feelings now.
Go for it.
The way that I recognize and demonstrate gratitude is to pay it forward. And I think you and I do a lot of the similar stuff. I mentor a lot of people, both formally and informally. Mm-hmm. I will drop everything and spend a tremendous amount of time to help coach people on their career and their job interviews and negotiations. The blog I did a few years ago, this podcast, writing the book, none of it was about money. It was about helping people because I have had a lot of great resources in my life, and I'm grateful for all the people that have mentored me and helped me and for the knowledge that I have. And it is my intention to help other people find that as well. And so I think I do it mindlessly is not the right term, but I don't
effortlessly, right? Or unconsciously.
Unconsciously, this is how I demonstrate gratitude.
You, that is incredibly insightful, and I would agree. And I'm not sure I would have been able to verbalize that point, but I think you're right in that we both do show our gratitude that way, in the sense that, you know, we both get a lot out of helping other people and paying it forward and teaching other people things that we've learned that have helped us and then made us happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we always joke about it, but it's like if somebody at work even, or somebody we know in our personal lives comes to us with a question, and it's, you know, something like personal finance or something that's like minimalism or personal finance, something like
non-work related.
We get so excited. Yeah. So it's funny. I've had a long week. It's only Wednesday, but it's been a busy week. And I was just outside, like going for a walk with one of my kids and my husband earlier tonight. And we had just gotten outside and we were like kind of messing with something in the garden, and we were about to go for just a really quick walk. And like somebody who I didn't know stopped me, and it was like a neighbor of some sort. And they were like starting to talk to me, and I was just like, oh, I don't have time for this. And I didn't know who they were, but then they told me who they were. And it was someone who listens to our show, who I've emailed with. I've never met her, but she knows my old neighbor, and we had connected. I've told you about her before, Mike, because her mom was like on this old episode of Phil Donahue, which I'll put on social media. Long story. You saw the video, remember?
Is this going somewhere, Maggie?
It is going somewhere. Okay. Anyways, it was her. I hadn't met her, but I knew she lived in my neighborhood. We had emailed some. She was a big fan of the show. We had a mutual friend in common. And so when she said her name, she was like, hey, are you Maggie? And like introduced herself. And I'm like, oh, I totally know who you are. And like we had never met. And so she ended up going on the walk with us, and we ended up like talking to her and like walking around the block. But it just reminded me, like when I thought it was someone that was just random and I don't know what they wanted to talk about, I was like, I don't have time for this. But when it was about some like this topic and something we're both passionate about, I was so excited to talk to her. Right. Anyways, there was a point of context somewhere.
And on that note, this is a perfect segue to say that what gets measured gets better. And
exactly.
You should definitely pay attention to your goals and track them and follow up on them throughout the year.
Yes.
That's where you were going with that story, right?
That's exactly how I was about to wrap it up.
Okay.
And then, get an accountability partner, even better.
Right.
Speaking of that, my accountability partner, likes to do Mike's Minute on the Mic, right?
Yeah.
I want you to name 3 things that you're grateful for today that happened today.
Yeah.
Or that you can recognize you're appreciative of today.
I am grateful for the people on my team, the people that report to me at work. They are amazing employees. They do great work, and they really make the day enjoyable, even when we're working on tough projects.
That's really nice.
So extremely grateful for them. I am grateful to have very healthy, happy kids who get to go do something interesting with their day and come home having been getting the most out of what is a challenging educational situation, and come home happy and interested in being with us and spending time with us. And then I am grateful for both my hobbies and my wife's hobbies. So she woke up and went swimming very early this morning, which she does multiple times a week. And
she swims while I'm in like the middle of my sleep cycle.
Yeah, hours before you wake up. So she has swimming. I have this podcast we're recording right now. So both of us having these extracurricular activities, which make us very happy. Extremely grateful for that.
Awesome. That was very nice, Mike.
Yeah. Good question.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you have been challenged or inspired by anything you have heard on this show, or just if you feel generous, please rate or review this show. It really helps us and other people to find the show. You can also subscribe to make sure that you never miss an episode. If you have any thoughts or questions, we would always love to hear from you, and you can leave us a voicemail or text at 404-981-3370, or you can also send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. And look, if you want to send us questions, we'll answer them on the show. If you want to send us ideas for show topics, we'll likely try to pull that into a upcoming episode. So please definitely use that number, and you can text us or call into it and leave us any thoughts or questions. Okay, I think that's a wrap on 2020 goals and gratitude, Mike.
For Q3.
For Q3, sorry.
Yeah, we'll have another one. Don't worry. All right, thanks, Maggie.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye.